this campaign was won by a band of strong Northern power women, I wouldn't mess with them. And I suggest that you don't either.
These were some of Andy Burnham's first words in the by-election win that paved his path to be the new Labour leader. And while he is the party's most popular choice for now, hanging over Labour's history is one fact. Out of 20 elected leaders, not a single one has been a woman.
There isn't a supply side issue, there is a demand side issue.
I think it's absolutely outrageous.
Yes, it was an issue. There was a boys' club. Yes, it does need to change.
Now, progress has been made. Labour has had the first female cabinet minister, the first woman chancellor, and now more female MPs than any other major party. But behind the scenes, allegations that it's a bit of a boys' club. And we still see that play out in public whenever there's a vacancy at the very top.
Is that a coincidence, or have we got some kind of cultural problem here?
OK, let's contextualise this. Every other major political party in the UK has been led by a woman. Labour has had women acting in the roles, so Margaret Beckett and Harriet Harman did it twice. In Wales and Scotland, the party has had women at the top too. But nationally, Labour's elected leader, chosen by the party, has always been a man. And even when you look around the world, Labour is lagging behind. The main left-of-centre parties in 50 countries, including most of Europe and South America, have smashed this ceiling. The UK Labour Party, after 120 years, still hasn't.
Of course it is painful to me that there's never been a leader of the Labour Party that is a woman. Of course that is painful to me.
Jess Phillips ran in the leadership election that selected Keir Starmer in 2020.
I wouldn't do it at the moment. I absolutely wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to be to put myself forward at the moment.
Did you consider running for this one?
No, but I wouldn't have wanted to do it for all sorts. Like, already, I am a backbench MP, and I have permanent security.
Have the particular toxicity of social media and death threats and violent threats, which actually are real for women in politics. So I totally understand, regardless of the breadth of talent that we've got in the Labour Party, why women may be pausing and thinking, perhaps not now.
You know, there is a viciousness towards women that put themselves forward, that come from my side of the fence sort of thing, that isn't on display elsewhere. And I mean, it really is a thing that any woman you see rising kind of to the top of our party, it almost is like there's a concerted effort to then tear her down, to put her back in her place.
I don't think there's a problem in the party as such, because we have a lot of very good women who are in high up cabinet posts. We have some brilliant women, but I certainly would hope that someday in the very near future the Labour Party will have a female leader and won't keep replacing men with men.
Now, it's wrong to say nothing has changed over the years. Women's representation in Labour has got better. That sharp uptick in women in top jobs, think Health Secretary, for example, that came when Ed Miliband became leader in 2010. And since then, the Cabinet has had a rough 50-50 gender split. But this is what's so striking. Every job, bar one, has been permanently held by a woman at some point. Every job, that is, except the elected leader.
I think it's absolutely outrageous. We are the political party, more than any of the other political parties, committed to equality across the piece, including gender equality. Everything we say has not translated into what we do, and it's what you do that really counts.
I think Keir Starmer, wasn't he the only man last time when he stood?
Yeah.
Look, you're going to have, like I say, you have to look at like the supply side and the demand side. The supply side actually isn't usually in any shortage. Women do stand.
And that's not the full picture. In every leadership election, every man standing has beaten a woman. Margaret Beckett, beaten by Tony Blair. Diane Abbott, beaten by Ed Miliband. Liz Kendall and Yvette Cooper, Jeremy Corbyn, Lisa Nandy and Rebecca Long-Bailey. Keir Starmer. Does the Labour Party have a problem with the idea of a woman being leader?
Society has a problem with women being leaders coming through that glass ceiling. I don't think the Labour Party is any worse or any better than that. So I think it's a societal issue that we haven't effectively tackled within the Labour Party.
Lucy Powell was elected Deputy Labour leader last year. All 6 candidates in that contest were women.
Well, we didn't have an all-women shortlist for the deputy leader. It was just that women were coming forward for that job, and I think there was a real desire for it to be a woman. I'm not, a massive fan of kind of quotas in that sense, because then people don't necessarily think you've got the job on merit.
So how we, elect our leaders and how that happens, maybe that needs looking into. But personally, I don't think it's merit. I don't think that's the reason.
And this isn't just a Labour issue. Yes, the Conservatives might have had 4 female leaders, but the gender split within the party is overwhelmingly male. Westminster is still by many seen as a world too stuck in its ways, wired to accommodate men.
I'm the 688th woman ever to be elected here. Even today in a heat wave, I can't go in the chamber with my shoulders out like this in case, I don't know, like a male politician might have a heart palpitation. But it's ridiculous. It is a place that has been set up for men to deliver what they're interested in.
I walk into rooms in the Palace of Westminster where there is literally no depiction of a woman at all in all of the oil paintings that are ostensibly representing our democratic politics over the last 200 years. Well, I think we need to change that, not just in terms of the representation on the walls, but the representation in the rooms.
And Labour has worked hard to make this happen. All women shortlists have been a divisive but undeniably effective way of improving female representation. And the Labour Party has used them more than any other. But it's not just the public-facing jobs that matter. Under Keir Starmer, the common criticism was that, until recently at least, behind the door to number 10 was a boys' club. Men calling the shots, briefing against their female colleagues and having the conversations without them in the room. These are allegations Downing Street has always rejected, given the number of highly qualified women in number 10 and across government.
Yes, it was an issue. There was a boys' club. Yes, it does need to change. We have so many women of talent, and yet to find them being briefed against, to find them being marginalised, to find them being put to one side or actively bullied are really bad examples of how politics can end up being conducted.
I do think it's got better recently. I wouldn't say that Keir Starmer certainly wasn't the sort of person who would consider or want to be running a boys' club.
Do you, as a woman, a very senior woman in politics, do you sometimes still feel sidelined?
No, I don't. I mean, I have an elected position, deputy leader, and I make my voice heard. But I don't do that through the prism of the media mainly. I usually do that in private.
There's genuine dismay that this conversation is still being had in 2026. But weeks ago, there was then disbelief when this article came out, quoting a senior Labour source, saying Andy Burnham could be the Labour Party's first female Prime Minister. Why? Well, because he cares about female issues like safer streets, social care and education. Not my source, not my story,
Not
but it
him,
came from
not him.
a
Yeah.
Labour source.
Yeah.
That could, I mean, look, that could be anybody.
That could
couldn't it?
literally be anybody. But what that came from, let me tell you who that came from. An idiot. An absolute fool. And almost certainly a man.
Well, Andy Burnham dismissed it straight away. But with or without this added ammunition, what women in the Parliamentary Labour Party have been asking him for is reassurances that he won't just talk about a cultural change, but he'll actually drive one.
We've insisted that since there's going to be a male leader, we'll have a deputy prime minister who is a woman, full-time cabinet member whose job it is to seek out and hunt down misogynistic and sexist behaviour and bad policy wherever it should be. At least 50% of the cabinet should be women, and all across all the ministers, and indeed for number 10 staff and across the special advisors, at least 50% and right across all the levels of seniority.
Many people pay lip service to the idea that Labour must have a female leader in future. And look, there is clear excitement about the prospect of an Andy Burnham premiership. But already, while this leadership contest hasn't technically ended yet, people are already talking about who needs to come after him. Should the next Labour leader be a woman?
I would love the next Labour leader to be a woman. And that requires all of us to be able to take on those forces of darkness and the threats.
I think we're well overdue. We are well overdue.
I mean, I always think that the next Labour leader should be a woman, so yes.
But do you think that should be a box that needs to be ticked?
No, but no, if you're doing it to tick the box, no.
I would love to see a woman. I've always said I would love to see a woman, and we've just got to, next time, it cannot be anything other than a woman.